On today's show, we got some hot takes, and they're burning a hole in our pocket. We're going to share them on the Mavs and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Join the Raccoon Squad, be an everyday or subscribe or follow for free. Just search Locked On Mavericks wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. The best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section. Share your hottest NBA take right now. I know you got some. Most of the time, you just comment your hot takes and you don't even know it. If you want to support the show, text us. Get text alerts from us on Mavs rumors and more. Subscribe to our subtext. Click the link in the description or text the number in the description below. And joining me, as always, co-host, contributor, Studio 41, Mavs.com, the hot take titan, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
All right, we were just talking about how companies do marketing things. Like, they'll do stuff wrong on purpose for marketing. I have a question for you. So I saw this Buc-ee's thing the other day.
Like the gas station?
First off, how would you describe Buc-ee's to our overseas?
I was going to say, so for our international audience, Buc-ee's is the biggest gas station you can imagine. Imagine like 100 different places for you to get gas for your car. Okay? And then you walk in and it's the size of a grocery store inside the actual. They have the nicest restrooms and bathrooms. They have everything. They have like a barbecue station. They have like a deli. They have all the drinks and snacks you can. It's all that.
Anyway, it's kind of creepy. It's kind of cultish. They have shirts and stuff. But
and there's a beaver.
They put up there's a beaver named Bucky. They put up a bunch of billboards to where our communications team was talking about this day. They put a bunch of billboards to where they misspelled howdy, and it's hodwy on the billboard. So then they had to go back and change out all the billboards, but it got all of this. People were like posting it and like all this thing for like Buc-ee's. Did they really make this bad of a mistake? So my question for you is, was it on purpose? Or like, there's just no way. There's no way you can misspell a word like that.
Especially think about how many different like people it has to go through to get to actually on a billboard. Which is
that's being installed. Like whoever's even installing it, the dude's up there. He's like, "Hey Jimmy, this says Hodwy." He's like, "I don't care, dude. Just put it up. That's not what we get paid for."
Yeah, HODWY, Hodwy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be howdy, and they switched them out. But you know what? What's the saying? Since I'm really good at sayings,
head to
all
toe.
Publicity is good publicity.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, you're right. So on today's show, we're going to share some of our takes that'll get you guys commenting on, like, as if we misspelled a word on a billboard, as if we misspelled a word.
It was super hot today. It's crazy hot in Texas. Past the bank, it was 118, and I posted it, and somebody was like, "Dude, you can't trust the bank. It's 106." I'm like, "You can't trust banks? What?"
For temperature? I don't think for temperature. I'm not going to.
Still, I've never seen 118 on a bank sign. All right, so.
That might be the heat index, because it is. I mean, for international audience, it's like 41 degrees Celsius outside right now. It's
sure, yeah,
it's a lot. All right, we're gonna share them. I got a couple Mavs ones, we got a couple NBA ones, and let's just go. All right, I got my first one.
I'm ready.
Tell me if this is hot or not.
You want to do Mavs first or league?
Yeah, I'm doing some Mavs. Let's do Mavs first.
All right.
The Dallas Mavericks will win the in-season tournament.
Oh my god!
Hear me out, okay?
I got to hear your reason, because I want to know why Luka will care.
Luka will care because it's a competition and it's a game. Did you see Kyrie's tweets today?
Oh god! Should we do this live? I haven't seen them.
They're good tweets today. It's commenting a whole bunch of stuff about how he's ready. He's locked in. He's ready to go back. There was somebody posted his 2016 NBA final stats, and he said, I don't want any credit or validation. I just want to get back to the stage and win, in all caps.
Let's go.
And then somebody posted about Kyrie since leaving LeBron. It was this big graphic that was like he got injured, missed the playoffs, lost in the first round, injured, missed the playoffs, injured in the second round, lost to the Bucks, swept in the first round at Celtics, missed the play-in last year. And
sounds similar to a pod I did the other day.
it is. Kyrie responded and said, pin this tweet and see what happens in the next few years. So we've got a motivated Kyrie. We've got an in-shape Luka to start the season and motivated because he's going to be doing FIBA and he's going to be ready to go right away. We got Grant Williams, who's got to prove himself. We got some young guys that can get better. I mean, they've got all this going for them to start. They should start the season off better than they ended the season last year. But their group in the in-season tournament, all they have to do is win one game against each of these teams, and then they'll move on. Denver is part of their group. They play Denver well. They went 2-2 against Denver last year. They actually do play Denver tough. Clippers, they always play them tough. Luka's always motivated against them. They went 2-2 against them last year. Pelicans, Mavs went 2-2 against.
Want to go ahead and predict
against
the
them
record
last
against
year.
all those games.
And then I'm just saying what their record was last year. Rockets, I am going to predict their record. Ready for this? The Rockets, they went 3-1 against them last year, and Dylan Brooks will guard Luka, which LOL. Their record against those teams is going to be 4-0. They're going to beat all those teams, and they're not in a row. And then they'll go on to win the in-season tournament. I'm ready for it. And then we have to decide if we care about it, and I think we will.
I don't want to be the first lockdown pod that has to figure out if that's like a massive deal or not. Let's let somebody else do it. We need to figure out who would be the funniest host to have to like celebrate that and to figure out.
I know who it is. I know who it is.
Who?
It's Matt George of Locked On Kings.
Yeah. We should make like a special like lower third for him that he has to put on his thing. It's like
with like fireworks and like a little graphic on the bottom. Yeah, because the Kings haven't made the playoffs in like 16 years. They make the playoffs last year, and then all of a sudden, do they celebrate this? Do they hang a banner for it? The Kings probably hang a banner if they win the in-season tournament. Yeah, right.
Hang the banner, baby.
Oh, do you think any team that wins it will hang a banner?
No, they'll get roasted, man. You can't do it. I'm sorry.
The Orlando Magic donated to Ron DeSantis' campaign, so I don't think teams are worried about getting roasted out here. If you're getting roasted for something,
whoa, where does this come into play?
That's a wild story today. It's like the most any team like in the team's name has donated to a political person in like a long time. Anyway, all right, that's my first one. Give me your first Mavs hot take.
John Isaac. All right.
I heard he matched.
So, do I have enough time to go all in on this? At the end of the season, Olivier-Maxence Prosper will be considered a top 10 pick in redrafts.
I'm ready for this one.
Reminder for the top 10 picks is Wemby, Brandon Miller, Henderson, Scoot, the Thompson brothers. And then after that, Anthony Black, Koulibaly, Jarris Walker, Hendricks, and Kaysen Wallace. I think by the end of the year, Omax will be a top 10 pick when people do their redraft blogs, podcasts, and all of this stuff. I think what he can do at his size, I think he's going to get the opportunity to play on a good team in Dallas. I think more than Derek Lively. I think more than Jaden Hardy. I think he's going to have minutes off the bench. I think there's a world in which by the end of the season, he could be starting alongside Grant Williams. Am I drinking all the Kool-Aid? I am.
Yes.
But I think he's going to prove so much. And I think he's going to be on the path after year one. I think people are going to be saying, oh, here's the next OG. And I think in a few years, then you're talking about, oh, here's a Siakam type. But I think after year one, it's okay, we have our new OG in the league, OG Anunoby. So yeah, that's my hot take right now.
I'm with that one. I'm feeling good about that because I just did the whole episode about Derek Lively yesterday and about the precedent for, is there a rookie center that plays on a good team? And no, there's not. I mean, it's Miles Turner. And then the only other center that started 30 games or more on a winning team, like a team that won more games than they lost, Thon Maker on Jason Kidd's Milwaukee Bucks.
Whoa.
That's the only other center that started over 30 games and their team won. So there's not precedent for Lively to play a ton, but there is precedent for a rookie wing like O-Max to come. And we just saw Keegan Murray last year do it. I mean, we've seen it a bunch. Scotty Barnes just did it. And so, man, I love this one because you start to look down the row of the players. Asar Thompson with the Pistons, he's going to kind of get buried a little bit. There's a lot of guys with the Pistons that will want to get minutes. Bilal Coulibaly, he's not even starting. He's coming off the bench. He's really young, and both those guys are really raw. Jarris Walker, Taylor Hendricks, I don't think they're going to pop as much, but we'll see. And then Cason Wallace, he's kind of buried too. I mean, OKC is super deep with young talent right now. So, yeah, that's a really good one. And then Brandon Miller
do lottery, but then I was like, I'll get even spicier and say top 10.
You gotta get a little spicier. So, great one.
Yeah,
great one. Love that. Coming up, I got one more Mavs one about Luka and Kyrie, and then we're gonna share some more NBA hot takes coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Ibotta. Ibotta has you covered for all the things that you buy at tons of different places. When you buy stuff at places, one of the greatest things that I've learned as an adult is to use your credit card and get points, because eventually it racks up enough points where you get cash back, and then all of a sudden it just feels like free money. Well, Ibotta does that exact same thing. If you're picking up burgers and hot dogs for a summer barbecue, you already know you're doing it, so why not get cash back for it with Ibotta? Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so make sure that you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get cash back. It's that easy. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKED when you register. Go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app and use code LOCKED. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play App Store, IBOTTA. Use the code LOCKED.
I'm not playing. I'm watching, just like you guys.
If you need help with transitions, just let me know. I can help you out on that.
That was actually really good. I'd probably do that. I could probably do that again from now on. I should probably throw in another one. I'll do like a. Oh man! Look at that!
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I feel like you're a DJ now.
It feels like it.
Yo, you see Apple Jacks?
Just going like that. I love the O-Max. So we just shared some of our Mavs hot takes. I think they'll win the in-season tournament. You think that O-Max will be considered in redrafts a top 10 pick, which I like that one. I'm feeling good about O-Max.
Reminder, he was 24th overall, so that's a pretty good hop up there.
It is a big jump. It is a big jump. But if he did that, that would be amazing for the Mavericks. Like what would O-Max becoming a top 10 type pick? What would that mean for this team?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it just allows you more flexibility to spend elsewhere. That now you have like two guys under contract for multiple seasons, and him and Grant Williams that are bigger bodies that can switch and defend on the wing. So it would just be, you could go out and spend more at the big man spot, or I don't know. Yeah.
It'd be awesome. It'd be awesome for them to have somebody like him, especially with his wingspan, his size, like you said, to have another option for some of these guys. It wouldn't just be on Josh Green and Grant Williams at all. Like, just solely, right?
Yeah.
It feels like it's all on those guys right now.
All right, give me 20 seconds and then erase this from your memories. And he becomes your biggest trade asset for any for any trade pack. I'm just saying, like, if one of the dudes pops, it becomes like you're looking at next summer. I think it was Tim Cato who said last week of saying we're a year like next off season, they're gonna have a bunch of young guys now. What if one of them pops, a couple of them pop, and then you have 3 first-round draft picks where if another big superstar hits the market that you want to form a big three, Kyrie and Luka, you could go after him. So erase the last 20 seconds. Now we can proceed.
I need a recovery beer.
I can't. We haven't even seen him step on the floor yet. I'm not ready to trade O-Max just yet.
I know. I don't want to. Don't even. I'm not either. I'm just saying, like, it's never a bad thing to have a bunch of incredible trade assets.
All right, I got one more Mavs one. One more Mavs take. Luka and Kyrie will both start in the All-Star game again this year.
Yeah, I like it.
This is why Luka and Kyrie are both going to be guards, and Lillard is probably going to be out of the West next year.
Okay.
Right? Probably be in Miami. John Morant is already disqualified like before the season starts because he's going to miss 25 games to start the year. Steph Curry, that one's a tough one. That's their.
Yeah, I don't think they're both beating Steph.
But they did last year, or
you need an injury for Steph.
You'll need something. Yeah, you'll need something for Steph. So that one, that's tough. Devin Booker and Bradley Beal. Devin Booker's a really tough one too, but
don't care about them.
But they are competition for All-Star starter. Then you go.
Yeah. I'm saying I don't care about him when it comes to votes. I think Booker is very popular, but I do think Kyrie's still really popular with people.
Yeah. SGA, Anthony Edwards, Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox. That's like your next tier. I mean, that's their whole competition for Luka and Kyrie to start the All-Star game.
It's really Steph. Steph's the only one I think.
Steph and I'll throw Devin Booker too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because my first thought on it is like, no, probably not. But now you say that, then yeah, I think they very well could.
If they're having a good season, let's say for whatever reason they have a better record than the Suns going into like All-Star voting, then Luka and Kyrie, you just pencil them in.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's move on to the NBA.
Here's my first league one. We got a question back I feel like it was 2 weeks ago. I tweeted out and I was like, hey, what do y'all want to talk about tonight? And somebody wrote and said the best young cores in the NBA and where does Dallas stack up and all of that. So I looked at it, and here's my hot take. I think of all the best, if I could do / young cores / situations, I think of all the best young cores / situations, I think Portland has the best one besides OKC. And I don't think that would be the popular thing about that, because you're also looking at like Indiana, you're looking at Orlando with Paolo and Franz, and their recent picks and Anthony Black and Jet Howard. I think you're looking at Houston. I feel like there's people like on both sides of Houston stuff, but they have a bunch of young players. You're looking at Detroit with Cade and Ivy in those picks. Durham. I don't really care about Charlotte. I think, yeah. But I go back to Portland, and I think if you're, and I know Cronin's in like a tough spot right now, and it sucks, and you have this franchise guy, but I think when it comes to young cores and young situations, I think Portland is the one that I think I'm just as high on than anybody else besides OKC. I think OKC is a step above everybody because of the draft picks they have too. But I think Scoot is that much of a cornerstone guy. I think then you have Shaedon Sharpe. Then you have Chris Murray. They have, Rupert that they just took. They have some young guys there. Then you got the upcoming trades of Damian Lillard and Jeremy Grant coming up probably at the trade deadline, or at least next offseason. That's going to get you young players and picks. So you could be looking at like Jaime Jaquez and stuff too with Jovic. I love that situation. And even if you want to throw Thibault in there, sure. But they're going to have a bunch of picks. They're going to have their own picks. They're going to have this cornerstone guy and Scoot Henderson. I really like that situation.
Anthony Simon's only a year older than Chris Murray, who they just drafted too. So
there you go. Forgot about Simons. Yeah.
Throw him into a young core. And they got Matisse Thybulle.
I really struggle with the only one that I would consider it is Orlando, just because I'm that high on Paolo.
And Anthony
I
Black.
love Anthony Black. Yeah. And Franz is awesome. I didn't love the Jet Howard pick, but that's the only one that would rival it, I think, is Paolo and the crew. But
OKC is better.
Yeah. No, I think OKC is a step ahead, especially with Chet. But Chet, Giddey, J-Dub, SGA, and they got a bunch of other young players too, and they have all these picks and stuff. So I think there's a lot of fun teams with young cores. I mean, Houston has a ton of dudes. I don't know how much I like all the combination and what they're doing this offseason and all that. But I say it's a hot take with the Portland thing, because I think everybody's viewing Portland right now is like, dude, they're just in a sucky spot, like they don't know, they can't, what are they going to do with Dame? And it's like, honestly, I don't think it's really that sucky. Like it is with your franchise guy, but as far as long term, I think they're in one of the best situations and best young cores in the entire NBA, and I think it's the second best behind OKC.
Oh yeah, they already have their next step. They already have their next chapter. Right, it's already ready. I mean, they're a rebuilding team now. I mean, as soon as they move Damian Lillard out, they're just like the Rockets when James Harden leaves. Like.
Am I ready to say Scoot over Wemby for the career? I don't know. I'm getting there. Give me a few more months. I might entertain it a little bit more.
Well, that's like saying, Ja Morant over Zion a couple years ago, and now that doesn't look as crazy because of injuries.
That's true. That's true. I was pretty confident in that one. I'm not as confident in this one.
Yeah, this one's tough. Coming up, we got a couple more hot takes on the NBA. I got one about the defending champs.
Oh, okay.
Coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of this show, listening every day. Tomorrow, we may touch a little bit on FIBA. It seems to be tough to watch some of these FIBA preparation games in the U.S. So if we do get to watch them, we'll have a video. If not, then we'll have an episode. I am going to talk to John Corrales about Grant Williams from Locked On Celtics, and so that episode will probably be tomorrow. So come back tomorrow and hang out with us talking about that. All right, Isaac Harris, I got another hot take. We got a couple more hot takes.
Ooh, I'm ready.
The Denver Nuggets, who I was high on last year, if you remember, when we asked him when he asked us at media day, Theo Pinson asked, "Who do you think is number one in the West?" And I said Denver, and he said, "What the?" And he turned around and he looked at everybody in the room, and then he laughed, and you laughed at me, and then they won the title, and I felt very vindicated. This year, the Denver Nuggets will not have home court advantage in the playoffs.
Whoa. That is hot.
Let me lay it out for you. They only won 53. They only won 53 games last year. So it's not like this is a juggernaut 60 win, 67 win team that we've seen in the past, right? They took their foot off the gas for a while last year. So I'll give them that they probably could have won some games that they didn't at the end of the season. But 53 wins would have been third and fourth place the year before last. And it also would have been like fourth and fifth place in 2018-19. It would have been third place in 2017-18, fourth place in 2016-17. So it like half the time, 53 wins gets you either first or like fourth or fifth, right? So that's how you kind of split that. They could have a championship hangover. So coming into the season, they've got Jamal Murray playing FIBA. Jokic is not playing in FIBA for Serbia, but they could have a little bit of a championship hangover. Teams have that. They come in the next year and why should I take this regular season seriously? We just went through this whole thing. They lost Bruce Brown. It's a tough one. They lost him for nothing. They lost Uncle Jeff. Not as tough, but still not good. Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, or Michael Porter Jr. injury prone. Jamal Murray's coming off an injury. He'll probably be better than he was last year because now it's been 2 years removed, but that's still a question mark. And I don't know. I think a lot of teams got better in the West, and I think that this team could be easily fourth, fifth, and I think everything could be so tight that by the end of the season, they fall a little bit.
I think I would go the opposite direction. I think it's more likely they finish first or second. I think they're going to be even better. I think as much as I love Bruce Brown, I do, I think people will fall into that a little bit of it's more about you had a bunch of reasons, but I think some people will fall into that, man, they lost their key bench people and Bruce Brown. I think they're going to replace him decently well with Christian Brown and some of their young guys. And I think they're going to be even better. I think they're going to be I think they could be nasty next year, regular season.
They've got a really good starting
60+ wins.
They've got a really good starting five. Jokic, Murray, KCP, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. Great starting five. This is their bench, though. Christian Brown, going into his second year. Reggie Jackson, who they re-signed, didn't play him at all in the playoffs. Zeke Naji, our boy from Slovenia, Vlako Čančar, Justin Holiday, who we just saw,
They re-signed DeAndre.
Peyton Watson in his second year. Julian Strother as a rookie. And then you mentioned DeAndre Jordan, who I just wrote DeAndre Jordan - old. That's what I wrote next. That's their bench. I mean, so my point is, if they lose one of these guys, let's say Jamal Murray goes down with an injury, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., who's injury prone, one of those goes down. I mean, they're replacing him with who? Zeke Naji, Chanchar. Like, their depth is just not good, and that's what hurts you in the regular season. So that's my point on Denver.
That's true. Okay.
So I got.
All right, here we go. Damian Lillard gets traded to the Toronto Raptors.
He waited till the 25th minute to share this one.
I did. I think Masai makes his Kawhi swing number 2, and I think he makes the call to Cronin and says, "All right, let's do the Scotty Barnes for Dame trade."
Wow.
And it's Scotty Barnes, it's Grady Dick, it's the salaries of.
You're moving me to Portland.
Yes, you're going to Portland. It's the salaries of Gary Trent, Thad Young. They have all these guys are expiring contracts, so they could basically do expiring contracts with the 2 young guys and Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, and then I don't know. Does it take a first-round pick after that? If
Probably
like you're getting Scotty Barnes for Damian Lillard, it's pretty dang good. And then Toronto turns around and says, "All right, we have Damian Lillard, we have Siakam, OG. Jakob Poeltl, Schroeder, Boucher, Precious, McDaniels." But the fact that you have a big 4 of Dame, I say big 4, but Dame, Siakam, OG, and Poeltl,
it's good.
I think they could almost compete with anybody in the East. And I think that's why I could see Toronto doing it and saying, let's do this. Like, their whole mindset for making the Kawhi trade years ago was, we have this team, we can make the trade and bet on it and say, let's. And Kawhi was 1 year. Like, Dame's still under contract for, for what, 4 years? So go for it. I mean, if they made that trade right now and no other East team made a trade, let's say Philly trades James Harden. Like, I would put Toronto right there with Boston and Milwaukee at the top of the East. I'd make it like a top 3 at the top of the East.
I love it, but I do have one thing. There's one thing that I need to know about this.
Oh, no.
How quickly does Damian Lillard get featured onto a Drake track after that happens?
Okay. I was going to go the opposite direction and say, would Drake be featured on Dame's?
Oh, no.
album?
The opposite. Oh, no, the opposite. Yeah. With Dame Dollar and Drake. Yeah, that's hot. That's hot. There's still steam coming off you.
I mean, he's probably going to end up in Miami, but I don't know. This is my hot take. I think he's a Toronto guy.
Matt Moore of Locked On Nuggets, Locked On NBA, Action Network, said something the other day. He said, I think that this whole trading Siakam to Atlanta or whoever, this whole thing is just vapors of Masai trying to gauge value for some of his stuff and some of his guys. Like, let's just see what's the asking price for some of these guys, and then let's see, and then as he's talking, try to gauge how they could get Damian Lillard, and then all of a sudden they get in and they do. That would be such a Masai thing to do because they don't have any. I mean, they don't have any guard. They have the worst guard rotation in the league right now.
Schroeder.
I mean, it's Schroeder and who else?
Gary Trent.
Well, yeah, I mean, ball handlers.
I mean, that's pretty much it. But can you imagine, though, Dame next to OG and Siakam?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
With Poeltl down low. Like, that's pretty dang good.
It is honestly Schroeder and Malachi Flynn. I mean, that's the worst guard rotation in the NBA.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
That's bad.
Especially if you could make that trade and like keep Grady Dick and put like a couple more firsts or something.
Keep me in the tee.
Then you have Grady Dick shooting. Anyway, what's your last one?
My last one is like my half-baked one. It's not even really that hot. I think this is going to be an all-time awful vibe season for the Sixers.
It might already be.
I was going to say, it might already be. This is why it's not that hot. But you got the Harden trade request, and he's, I don't know if he's getting it because one team he's connected to is the Clippers, and from everything we've heard, I don't think the Clippers are interested in him. Embiid has already thrown out the, if I win a title with in Philly or wherever I win a title. They also have 5 centers. Like, they low-key have 5 centers. Embiid, Bamba, Montrezl Harrell they brought back to every Sixers fan's dismay. Dwayne Dedman, and then Petrusev. Then they also have PJ Tucker, who's like 85 years old. Patrick Beverley, who's crazy. I mean,
Maxey without an extension.
Yeah. I mean, it could go downhill. And then a new coach and
Nick Nurse doesn't have the best, with players. So
I mean, look at what just happened with Toronto. I mean, I listened to a lot of Locked On Raptors about Nick Nurse over the last couple months, and what Sean would always say is, Nick Nurse is a great coach. He still, has good X's and O's and all that. He just kind of lost this locker room, and they just need a new voice. That's not really a resounding, point of excitement for a team that needs a new voice and says, all right, we need somebody to come in and rein in these personalities, right? Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. And your GM does a lot of press
and tweeting.
So, yeah.
He X's a lot. He X post X a lot. There you go. Yeah. Let us know in the comment section. What are your hot takes? Join us tomorrow. We'll either be talking about Grant Williams, John Krause, or we'll talk about Slovenia. We'll see what happens. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
So,
boom.